Hey everyone, hope you've had an absolutely fantastic week. I have got another Enduro race weekend happening. Now in the previous videos that I've done, I've actually had a few people comment saying that they would like to do an Enduro, but they're not quite sure how to go about it. Well, I thought this time I'll make a video showing you the steps that you need to take just to get yourself entered and raced in an Enduro. Now racing Enduros isn't for everyone, but it is actually really good fun. It pushes you, it makes you ride further, it makes me ride further anyway, and it's just a good challenge. So even if you weren't really interested and didn't plan to ride an Enduro, I'd recommend just entering one at least, just to see how you get on. Now if you're not sure who runs Enduros near you, or even if there are any near you, I'd recommend just having a Google or even going on Facebook and trying to find some mountain bike groups and ask on there. Everyone seems really friendly and happy to answer any questions. This weekend I'm doing an Enduro as part of the Tweedlove Bike Festival here in the Scottish Borders. Previously I've been doing the Scottish Enduro series as part of the No Fuss events. They're really cool, but this week it's the Tweedlove. So I found the Tweedlove website and it's just a case of finding which event you want to enter. In this case it's the White British Enduro Championships, which sounds pretty fancy. So we just click that, takes us to that page, and then there's a lot of information here about where the event is, rules, etc, etc. Read all that because it's pretty important or interesting. And then when you go down, you eventually find the enter here button. So give that a click, and then it's just a case of following the instructions and getting that all filled out. So in this case, I'm not a seeded rider, so I'm going to choose this one, make sure it's the correct date. £60 entry, sounds steep, but there's a lot of people that need to work on this, so let's give them some money. And there's just one of me who's entering this because I'm a loner. And then press the order button. And then it's simply a case of adding all your details, if you're a business or private. If you want to put a team down, you can, and then it's a case of just putting your card number, billing, etc. Easy as that. Now I've already done all this, so once you have, you're on to the next step. Okay, so once you've filled out all the forms, paid your money, travelled to the event, you need to go and register. Now Tweedlove is a pretty big event. We've got all kinds of marquees and huts. But normally when you arrive at the event, there'll either be one obvious marquee, gazebo, or even sometimes they'll use like a sports hall, and that'll be where you register. So make your way to that, find the nice friendly event organisers, and even at this point, if you're not too sure what's going to happen, ask them. They're always super happy to help. That's what I had to do the first time I went. I'd never entered Enduro, I had no idea what was going on. I just asked about and they were super helpful. Found the event signing in desk, so once you got here, be friendly and go and follow the instructions.
What's the name?
The Ali Clarkson.
You are in wave 9.
Okay.
That's your number board and buff. So you need to be here at 6 tomorrow evening for the riders brief, and then from half past seven on Sunday morning to get your timing.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Cheers. Right, so different events will have different types of signing in. This one I get an allotted wave of riders that leave in the morning. So with other events, often you can choose what start time you want to go. If you're going around with friends, you can all go at the same time. Obviously it's a first come, first serve, so if you end up late, people will have chosen those times. So if you want to start at a certain time, get your registration early, and then you can pick a time. Unless it's like this event where you get an allotted one automatically. Now depending on which event you're doing and which organisation's doing it, they may do things a little bit differently. Sometimes they'll not put the map out of the trails ahead of time because they don't want people to come and secretly ride them. But sometimes they'll put out a map a few days in advance just to show you guys exactly where the trails are, so you can kind of prepare mentally, I guess. With the Scottish Enduro series, they often only put the map on display at registration when you go to the event. So you only get to find out very last minute exactly where you're going to go. But the Tweedlove event I'm at this weekend actually sent out an email a few days ago with a map and all the information you need. It even includes all the information like how pedally the stages are, how nah they are, stuff like that. Is actually really in-depth, which is pretty cool. And again, it can vary widely depending on which organisation, which event you've gone to, as to how many days practice you get. With the Scottish Enduro series, that's normally held over a weekend, so you can just get the 1 day of practice and the 1 day of race. This Tweedlove event, and I'm sure a lot of other events, may actually be held over a few days. So it's Friday today where I can sign in. You can also sign in tomorrow, but if you get here early, you get an extra day of practice. So you've got Friday and Saturday to practice, and the race is on Sunday. This is where you really need to have a think about your game plan. do you go out and use those 2 days to beast it, go and like know the tracks like the back of your hand, you know exactly how to rail that turn, and you can do them as fast as possible, but at the expense of expending a lot of energy? Or do you relax, get well fed, maybe just go and have 1 day practice or 1 afternoon practice on a couple of sections or stages that you think you're gonna have a problem with, but you're gonna save a lot of energy for the actual race? So yeah, it's a bit of a gamble. Which one do you go for? Right, well, before I show you anything else, I want to show you what I carry with me when I go on an enduro. I take a smaller bag. I really like a hip style bag. It takes a lot of strain off my shoulders, and once it's fitted right, you actually tend to forget you've even got it on at all. At most enduros I've been to, they will actually offer pit stops along the route. This is where they'll give you water or snacks like bananas, flapjack, but again, it entirely depends on which enduro you're doing. So this means I like to travel light. I only have 1 bottle of water with me. I tend to fill this with some like energy tabs or a bit of cordial, something like that. It doesn't need to be a massive bottle because yeah, you can go and fill this up, but it's definitely worth having some water with you. And even though they are supplying you with snacks, I still take a few energy bars with me. Whoops. I find anything nutty or just full of energy definitely worth having in your bag just when you need that little extra boost. I also carry with me in an easy to reach pocket just a simple multi-tool. This one has like a chain tool on it, all the essentials that I need to fix most things on my bike, and having that just an easy access means you can just do quick fixes last minute. It's just really handy, so definitely worth having a multi-tool of some kind with you. Here in Scotland we never know what the weather's going to do, so I tend to have a waterproof with me. So it's a fairly light breathable one, and yeah, if it's going to rain you don't want to get soaked, so it's definitely worth having a waterproof, and always check what the weather forecast is going to do. Even though in Scotland the weather forecast will say one thing and then it will do something completely different, but always worth having something as an emergency. And speaking of emergencies, I also have a poncho. Yeah, this is just in case it gets so wet. I can just cover my entire kit with this. I can even make a little shelter, use it to carry water, whatever. So yeah, quite universal, and it's so light and small, you may as well just have one. And while we're talking about emergencies, one bit of kit that a lot of enduros will make you carry as a mandatory kit is a first aid kit. So I've got bandages, I've got plasters, sutures, is that what they're called? Yeah, just lots of stuff like that. I've got gloves with me and tape, and yeah, you may as well have a first aid kit. I personally don't have a first aid qualification, which is a shame, I really should do, but yeah, it's definitely worth having some of these in emergencies. Someone else can come and help if need be, but yeah, if everyone has one of these, it's all good. And to go with the first aid kit, I also have a whistle. This is just in case I get lost or fall down a ravine and no one can hear me. I can give this a good blast and hopefully I can get some attention to myself. Other than the first aid kit, this stuff is entirely personal preference. Even the bag type is personal preference. You guys wear whatever you like. I just would recommend wearing something a bit smaller than normal because you don't have to carry quite as much water. Right, so it is now the morning of the race. The plan is you go to the same place you registered the day before and you pick up this little guy. This is a transponder. You just attach it to your wrist or your bike, and essentially this is your timing instrument. This automatically records the start and stop times for every single stage, so you don't have anyone with a stopwatch, and you just at the end of the race give this back, they pop it in a machine and it automatically gives you your overall time. So yeah, pretty simple. So I've already taken you through the kit I have in my bag, which you can see I'm wearing just here. I also should mention that clothing wise, you should definitely wear clothes according to the weather forecast you've seen. So it's actually fairly warm here today, so I'm wearing my shorts. If it was going to be cold, like in winter, I'd wear long trousers. I'm wearing medium length top just because, you know, it's still Scotland. It's not exactly Arizona or anywhere super warm, and it is due to rain later on. So long sleeves keeps me a little bit warmer. I got my waterproof as well. So yeah, wear whatever you're comfortable in. Just wear to the conditions. And also I've got some riding shorts on just because you're going to be sat down doing a lot of climbing, so wear some really comfortable bibs or shorts, whatever you're going to be comfortable in for, yeah, 50 kilometers sitting down. So yeah, just be smart with it. Earlier I mentioned I've got my hip bag on, but I've also got a saddle bag on my bike. A bit of a Marmite thing in the, like fashion-wise, but I find if I can get as much weight off my body and put it onto the bike, the better. In my bag, I've got a few extra tools which I didn't want to carry on my person. So I've got a CO2 head to go with a CO2 canister, get that out of there. So I can inflate my tyre in emergency. It means I don't have to carry around a massive heavy pump. I've got some, well, these are called dog turds. I'm not sure what the actual official name is, but they're essentially really sticky rubber sticks, I guess, that you can just force into any holes in your tyre. It means you can potentially fix any bigger holes if your sealant doesn't fix it. So those are pretty vital. And on my bike, I have some tools which allow me to poke those into the tyre. I've got a tyre lever because my tyres are pretty tight. I've got a lightweight, super small inner tube. This thing's just for emergencies only. I wanted to get the smallest one I could find. I've got a bunch of zip ties because zip ties fit everything, and I've got another emergency multi-tool just in case I lose my one or need two tools of something. So that, I believe, is everything I've got in there. So pretty much just emergency tool use, trying to keep it small, light, and yeah, minimum. One last bit of advice before I go off is protection. Helmets. I don't know for a fact, but I think a lot of races require you to have a full face helmet. Now in the UK, I don't think this rule's been implemented yet, so you can ride in an open face, full face, whatever you like. I like to ride in a full face these days. It makes me feel a little bit more secure, potentially makes me want to ride a little bit faster. It's just what I like to do. I don't find the heat is too much of an issue. I rode this in the last Enduro I did, and at no point was I wishing I wasn't wearing a full face helmet. And as you can see, I've bolted a GoPro mount to the chin guard. I think a lot of places can be a bit iffy with GoPro use, so they might allow it on the top of the helmet. I think a lot of places allow it under the visor. I'm going to try the chin guard. That seems to be one of the safer places. But if you do want to use a GoPro or anything like that, check with the organisation and see if you're allowed one. Sometimes you're allowed one in practice and not allowed in a race, but it entirely depends. So have a check before you end up at the start of a stage and a marshal stops you from riding. So yeah. The other thing is gloves. I like to ride in gloves. A lot of people don't. Personal preference. I don't ride with elbow pads. Now, I probably should. I fell off in practice the other day and gave myself some good scratches. I had stitches in my other elbow last year. I haven't found a pair that I like or find comfortable, but yeah, if you feel like you want more protection, go for elbow pads, but they're not vital. Knee pads, I tend to go for a knee-shin combo. Again, personal preference. I don't think you are required to wear them, but it's highly advised. You're probably gonna fall off. I know it doesn't sound very pleasant, but you probably will fall off at least once, so protecting those knees, pretty important. Once you've got your transponder, you've been to the toilet, you've done everything you need to do, you need to just hang around and wait for your start time. You can see here we've got a queue. I'm on wave 9. Sometimes you have waves of people, sometimes you just have individual start times. It's just a case of keeping an ear out, getting in the queue at the right time, and then they get you sent off. So that's what I'm going to do now.
Very nice guys, enjoy yourselves.
Awesome.
That's a good fan club you got there.
When you've followed your way markers and the flags and the arrows and you've got yourself a sweat on, you find yourself at the top of the hill. Essentially just find whichever stage you're going to. There'll be a queue and it's pretty much first come, first served. So get yourself in a queue, eat your food, drink your drinks, and then prepare for the downhill.
She's at the bottom, yeah?
Oh my god, I've got cramps.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you. Right, once you've finished, time to go back to registration. Hand in your transponder, get your time. Once you've finished your Enduro, you'll get that little piece of paper that will give you your current results, but often, especially if you start early in the day, you'll have a lot of people still to come in, so your position may change. Often they'll have a computer screen on display with live results on it, so as people come in it gets updated automatically, and it even gives individual race times for each stage, so you can compare yourself, see how you've done. And if you hang around, then you'll get your final result. It takes a couple of days and then the results come up online, and again you get to see individual stage times, so you can really compare and see how you've done against other people. If you're in the UK, one website I highly recommend you check out is called Roots and Rain. They have photographers that they send out where they go and take photos of the riders, and you can either enter your race number or just go through all the photos or enter your name, whatever. And yeah, often you'll find some pretty cool photos, and then if you want to support those guys and get the photo, you just give them a little bit of money. It depends on who's taking the photo and how good the photo is, I guess. Prices can vary, but yeah, it's cool to support those guys and you get a nice photo at the end of it. If you have any questions or you feel like I've missed anything, please put them down in the comments as usual. I'll try my best to answer those for you. But hopefully I've cleared up any questions you have had about how to enter an Enduro. Now the only thing left to do is get on your laptop, get entered, and go have an absolute rad time racing against randomers or your friends. I'd highly recommend it. So if you feel like it, give us a thumbs up and a subscribe if you haven't already, and be fluent, and I'll catch you next time. So take care everyone, see you later.